Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Just before we go into our formal agenda, we do have an announcement which has been delegated very kindly to Councillor Jones on behalf of our town crier.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Those of you that were downstairs, I mean, there's still got no to John's can't be here tonight. So he asked me to do a cry downstairs, but he's also asked me to do this one. So here we go. Oh yay! Oh yay! Oh yay! I'm here to make this proclamation about a lady's dedication to Biddulph Town Council. So what could be fairer than to talk about our chief officer, Sarah? Sarah started off almost on her own, but as you can see, her team has grown. Margaret, Sue and Angie, Jodie, Kelsey and Lizzie. Still Sarah manages to look busy. Well, it says here, I'll be kidding. Sarah started in Biddulph 10 years ago. Blushing and smiling, she saw the glow. One of the first things she did was get a bigger room, reorganise the office, and much needed new broom. Sarah quickly became almost indispensable. How we managed before her is incomprehensible. Efficient, knowledgeable, not prone to nerves, this proclamation is the least she deserves. So, Sarah Hayden, with an O, not an E, you're 10 years in the job now, and take it from me, as our chief officer, you're so up to speed. We were extremely proud when the nation agreed. Best town clerk in England, a deserving award. There's nobody better at home or abroad. So I'll end this cry, which is making a fuss. You are so very lucky to be working with us. Hang on, that's wrong. We are the lucky ones. God save the king. Thank you. Actually, I'll copy this in a frame, which I think Joe.
Yeah, not bit.
Oh, you've got it.
Got it.
Down.
Efficient, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I would like to open tonight's annual town meeting, and just before we get into the agenda, I'd just like to read the statement for the recording of the meeting. So this meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Biddulph Town Council YouTube page. The aim is that decision making should be transparent and in the public domain, which will involve more of our community and local democracy. By being in this council chamber, you're consenting to being recorded and for your image to be added to YouTube. The images and sounds may be used for training purposes. Any views expressed are the speaker's own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Biddulph Town Council. Please view the guidance on recording in public meetings policy if you need more information. So just to give a bit of an overview, the annual town meeting gives electors the opportunity to raise issues in relation to Biddulph. It's not a town council meeting and you can ask questions whilst you're here at the annual town meeting, either by emailing or in person. And we have had a few questions sent to us which we'll read out. Are we doing that after the annual report? Or...
Yeah, in the annual form section.
Okay, brilliant. So business to be transacted will be looking at the minutes of the last annual town meeting, which are here. These been before.
Yes, we have to approve them here.
Okay. So just needing to approve the annual town meeting minutes from Tuesday the 20th of May 2025 that was held here. And I'll just go through them. So we've got present, in attendance, number 1, which was apologies. Number 2, to confirm the minutes of the last annual town meeting held on the 24th of May 24. 3, the presentation of the annual report and achievements from 23-24 by the town mayor. 4, presentation on the town council's current areas of work. And number 5, open forum, where we discussed any other issues raised by any electors that were present at the time. Are you happy to move those? All in favour? Thank you very much. So we move on then to the presentation of the annual report for 25-26, which there are copies on people's seats. If we'll just go through those. So the detailed reports presented to the Town Council at each monthly meeting describe events which I had the pleasure of attending. So this is Adrian's report from last year. This is one reason why I won't be mentioning all the details here. The other reason is that to do so will present me with a dilemma: which organisations to mention by name and which not. In Biddulph, we're very fortunate to have such a wealth of volunteers in our town, and are all worthy of recognition, whether or not invited by the mayor to whether or not they invited the mayor to attend one of their events. I will now attempt to put these events into several categories. Firstly, there are the more civic events, formal civic events held in the town, and those which involve the town council in helping them to take place, such as the Mayor's Civic Church service, Remembrance Day, the Biddulph Festival launch, the Christmas light switch on. And then there are others organised by the voluntary groups themselves. In particular, these included many events held during the Biddulph Festival in July and during the Christmas period. The third group of events consists of civic events held outside the town, to which the mayor and mayoress were invited. Visits were made to Sandbach, Congleton, Leek, Cheadle, Uttoxeter, and Newcastle, some on several occasions. At the present time, with local government reorganisation very much on the agenda, I feel that it was important to raise the profile of our town amongst our neighbours and to maintain the good relations we have with them. Turning back to Biddulph itself, I'd like to highlight just 4 occasions which I'll continue to remember most fondly. The first 2 had been quite a while in the planning. One of them was the very first civic duty held in the town. This was to deliver a speech at the opening of the Hilda Sheldon Memorial Garden in North Road. Having enjoyed the results of the untiring efforts of Hilda and her volunteers at Biddulph in Bloom for many years, it was a real pleasure to contribute to this occasion. Next, I'll mention an event which, like Hilda's Garden, provides the town with lasting legacy. This was the Miners' Memorial opening and the opening of the Town Hall frontage. It recognises the town's heritage and provides a very useful facility where events can be held in the future. In contrast, neither of the other 2 occasions was anticipated when my mayoral year commenced. One was a clash of diary dates to hold a civic ball. As a result of this, the Volunteer Recognition Civic Awards ceremony planned for February was enhanced to the great pleasure of all who attended. In the many photographs that were taken that day, everyone looked so happy to be there, and it was a great success. The final occasion, which I recall with such pleasure, took place in March at the Town Council meeting, when I was delighted to convey the Town Councillor's collective appreciation and congratulations to Sarah Hayden, our Chief Officer, upon receipt of an award as Town Clerk of the Year 2025-26 from the National Association of Local Councils. My mayoral engagements and other activities were greatly assisted by the help of others, to whom I would now like to say thank you. First of all, thank you to the Mayoress Joy, who managed to accompany me on many occasions, as well as being a very active hands-on grandmother to 3 little girls. Thank you to the Chief Officer, Sarah, for the advice and support at meetings of the Town Council. Thank you to Sue, as Mayor's Secretary, who tirelessly kept the mayoral diary up to date and corresponded with various organisations to arrange events or confirm bookings. Thank you to all the Town Hall staff, in particular for assisting me with fitting and later removing the Mayor's chain. And a thank you to John, the Town Crier, for advising his 32nd Mayor about things when we attended functions together. Best wishes also go to my successors, our new Mayor, the Deputy Mayor, and their consorts. Looking back, I recall that for what seems like a long time following the end of Biddulph Urban District Council and at the last reorganisation, then the almost new Town Hall seemed too big for its new role. However, during my year as Mayor, I have had the occasion to visit the Town Hall regularly and see for myself just how well used it is now for the very wide range of activities as it approaches its 60th anniversary. In the uncertain times of change which lie ahead, I'm sure that everyone, the Council's elected members and the Town Hall staff alike, will strive to maintain the success and good reputation of Biddulph Town Council. And that was the words of our retiring Town Mayor for 2025-26, Adrian Lord. Yeah, so the next few pages of this are the work of the town council. And just to go through this briefly and look at the headlines. At the centre of the work of the town council is kindness. There's nothing complicated about that, we ask. What does the community need? How we make situations better? What do we need to put in place to protect the areas and space that we love? So as part of that, we have a 5-year strategy. We plan for the future, whatever that may hold. And in the year May 25 to 26, there were nearly 7,000 interactions with customers at the reception of the town hall, so it's very well used. And they had over 20,000 conversations on the telephone also. And that was part of our aspiration to take over the management of the town hall in 2020 to ensure the building was well used, and it certainly is. We host a wide range of organisations in the town hall, from musical groups to craft groups, and those who support us to manage our day-to-day lives. And we're always looking for new partners. As the town hall enters its 60th year, we're also really pleased at the town hall frontage, and that started to be used for a lot of events outside. And last year, the switching on of the lights, obviously we were able to utilise that space really well then. There are some photographs there of the town hall frontage in use, one of the markets that we've had on the front there. And we're also keen that we utilise the town hall in other ways. So one of the really big highlights this year has been the put my teeth back in, Feast and Flick cinema sessions, the Biddle Scratch Community Cinema. And we've had lots of films on there, and they've been enjoyed by a lot of people within our town. We're also proud of supporting the work of our Biddle Works Together partnership. We fed over 7,000 people last year, providing free food, support and warm spaces. And these activities continue to support people in our community and tackling social isolation. Other projects were the Toy Appeal. Over 100 children benefited from the Toy Appeal we did last year. And we're really lucky to have such a generous community and all the donations we received. One of our newest ventures on Biddulph Works Together is our Board in Biddulph event. This is a monthly board game cafe, and this is helping us to attract a wide range of people, and people who might not necessarily have come into the town hall before, but do so utilising those tabletop board games, and it's been really popular. We also opened our Library of Things, which is a new scheme, which is anyone in the community can come and become a member. Loan items such as hedge cutters and wallpaper strippers. It's all at a very low price, and we're really pleased that the positive environmental impact that also has on the community. Our chain reaction project, there's some wonderful images there of the lights being put on the bikes. We had the Ride the Light event along the Biddulph Valley Way, and it was an amazing sight. There's a lot of videos on there of that all lit up, which was fantastic. And that was part of that project was the ride, but also gifting unused bikes from the recycling centre, reducing the waste, encouraging people to move more and encouraging people to learn about bike repair and how to fix bikes. And it improves and focuses on one of our outcomes, which is improving health within the town. Another picture there of one of the pre-loved bike sales that we had, and there was 200 bikes there that pretty much all of them found a home, which was great. We've had some new and exciting partnerships for the coming for 25-26, which transforming the Trent Headwaters, the Know Your Place project. And we also, for the first time, entered the Cemetery of the Year Awards, and we came away with the best new entry and a silver award for the Parish, Town and Community Council category. We planted over 900 trees last year with the support of our amazing volunteers, and we continue to look for suitable locations for the next lot of planting. There've been so many incredible events during 25-26, and there's just a selection of photographs there from a few of them, which include the festival launch day, VJ Day, our classic vehicle show, homegrown and handmade show, Remembrance Sunday, Christmas light switch on. And of course, the absolutely wonderful and vibrant Chinese New Year celebration that we had in February. We also had the volunteer recognition and civic awards in February as well. I'll just read out what the mayor said about the volunteers during that civic awards ceremony. It is about the volunteers who give their time when no one is watching, the community champions who step forward when something needs doing, the quiet organisers, the litter pickers, the fundraisers, the trustees, the helpers, the listeners and the carers. You are the heartbeat of this community. Too often, the true strength of a town is measured in buildings, budgets or statistics. But I believe the measure of our community is found in its people, in kindness freely given, in service without expectation, and in pride in where we live. Every hour you contribute, every event you support, every neighbour you help, it all adds up. And it makes this such an amazing place to call home. So we had lots of new partners at the burial ground and the town hall bar after completing tender processes. We've added information to the printed press, notice boards and online, and all of our activities are shared via social media. In 25-26, we had 3,800 followers on Facebook and almost 1 million views. Every year, the Town Council allocates around £60,000 to support groups within our community, and you can find more about the grant schemes here. There is a link to the grant award schemes. There's also a booklet, the Clubs, Group and Societies, which is also provided online. And we publish every month a guide to all the activities that are taking place in the Town Hall. There is some statistics there about the burial grounds and allotment sites as well. So thank you to all those who supported us during 25-26. Your help, encouragement and guidance is very much appreciated. And there's some statistics and our income and expenditure accounts on there as well. And some information about our town councillors if anyone needs any more information. Thank you. So we move now to presentation on the Town Council's current areas of work, and I will just defer to the current chairs of the different groups that we have, so we've got finance first, the finance committee.
Thank you, Madam Young. It's been a very busy year. I was surprised actually when I spoke to the chief officer just how busy it has been. You don't forget, we tend to open the eyes and see what we've been up to this year. We've been working on signing the modern slavery agreement, looking to work on the partnership part of transforming the Trent-Head Waterhead partnerships. That's a bit up more there for the Trent-Head well. Managing the town hall frontage. So that was a major project really. You know, it's all finished now. It just happens, doesn't it now? The work that went behind that with the town hall staff and our chief officer was incredible there. And looking at it at this moment in time. Anticipate development of the new garden of remembrance. I'll mention that in a little while. That's the garden of remembrance. Move the quotations to the efficiency management of the town hall and other assets. A lot of assets within this town hall, and the management of this town hall is all down to the staff that we've got. Without the team of staff that we've got, this town hall would not continue the way it is. So thank you for that. Completed this council skills audit. Agreed with approach to council's training. And brief that is, if anybody fancies a little bit of training in confidence, you don't have to say, I don't know, I'm not confident on this. We will find training for you if you want any more training on any subjects within the town council. Reviewed policies and procedures, policies. There's lots of policies nowadays that are adhered to by law. We've looked a lot, but there's a lot to take down. I do urge councillors to keep up to date on these. We can't go through one at every meeting, too big to go through at every single meeting. Considering the long-term lease of the country park and visitor centre, that's another major project at the Grange to see oversee that project up there, which we've got great aspects, great ideas for up there. There's obstacles we know, we're able to get over these obstacles and make that a really good visitor centre, which it is now, but enhanced even more with more workings up there and possible working shed, etc. And shed possibly in that area, we don't know yet. We've allocated £57,000 in grants, community organisations. That's very nice. The only issue was, what we found difficult, there was over £100,000 requested, and we'd only got £57,000 in the pot. So we tried to cover everybody, but obviously couldn't get if requested. It's too big of a pot to cut down in many ways. We're requesting the match funding of the Moorlands Partnership Board, grant application to repair the centre track railings. Moorlands Partnership Board, we have 2 councillors who sit on that from Middletown Council. And the centre track railings, unfortunately, were damaged a little while ago. And hopefully, with the Moorlands Partnership Board grants, we can get these repaired. As you know, the centre, the Albert, centre, the monument, at the northern end of the town is very valuable to the town. We approved payments of Bill of Works Together programme. Bill of Works Together is another very important project for this town. A lot of people who won't be supported by Bill of Works Together. People who are not so fortunate as others do require this organisation. Through the new logos, Bill of Works Together, and the Library of Things, which our mayor's touched on earlier on, the Library of Things is growing from day to day. Through the 6th year of the Town Council's action plan, that's we have aspirations that we aim to meet, and normally we do, and will do in the future. There's always something going on in the pipeline. It's never been forgotten at all. Firm equipment and staff and requirements. That's to look after our members of staff, make sure that everything they require is supplied for them, and keep them happy. There's nothing worse than a member of staff who isn't happy. And we always say, come to us if you have anything you're not happy with, and we will rectify it. So we work like a nice oil machine. Brief tenders for management of the town hall bar and maintenance of the burial grounds. These have come about, the tenders come up for the bar, and we have a new bar now. No particular reason why the other one didn't get the contract, but the new one just seemed like a little bit out of shores above the other one, and at the moment it's working very, very well. There's a new maintenance contract in the burial ground. Then again, the new contractors seem to be working well. Obviously got a lot to learn, but they're learning fast and it's looking very nice again. And hopefully again this year we'll go into more awards for that. Approved assets management programme. Approved fees, charges and budget requirements. All down to the finance committee. It's a very active committee, finances within the town council. A lot goes on behind the scenes. The agendas that come out are massive. I know they are, but it's a big town. A lot of work goes behind the scenes on that. Approved new auditor VAT requirements. We've had new auditors in this year, and the new assertion 10 requirements. The old auditor worked well, but decided she wanted to pass it on. Got now a new auditor, and she's working very well for us. A massive one that we don't know the answers to instantly: energy saving within the town hall. Everybody's feeling the pinch. The running fees of this town hall are going up, like everybody's homes are. So we are looking now to keep this down to a minimum, which isn't easy, but we're hoping to try and cut corners a little bit even there without making us problems within the town hall facility itself. The new one that we've been looking at, consider the new what does good look like document. It's quite an in-depth document actually. I'm not going into the details, but if you want any copies of it, the town councils do have them. I'm sure the members of the public would ask if it can be required, if you can have that as well. The one I was going back on like a tiny bit. The the precept of this town, which is the council tax in effect, what people know it as. We've kept it down to as little as possible this year. The reason it had to go up in many ways is for the new burial ground in Turnip area, which unfortunately everybody one day will be down there. So, but the want that's there now is full capacity. So I'm working on a new remembrance garden in the burial ground area, which is costly. But we kept the precept down as little as possible, and we broke down to £10.82 increase per household, which over a 12-month period is £1 a week basically, which isn't much at all. I know others have put other increases in as well. It does push your precept up a little bit. I understand that, but we've kept ours down to as little as we possibly can. Basically, after all that, a lot more goes into finance. It's very active. To just sit down and talk about things once a month. A lot of preparation goes on before each meeting. So I'd like to take this moment to thank all the staff for all the preparation they did prior to the meetings, and all the councillors that turn up to all the meetings and support the finance committee to keep this town running as smoothly as possible. And thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Rogers. I would like to go next to the Recreation and Amenities Committee, which Councillor Jones is going to talk about.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm neither chair nor vice chair of this committee, but neither of those councillors are here tonight, so it's fallen to me to quickly go through. I can see you're all really riveted by these detailed reports, so I'll be brief. This year, the Recreation and Amenities Committee is basically what it says on the tin. It's the local things, all the facilities within the town, and obviously the recreation side of things. So this year, the committee has provided a regularly updated jobs list for the Lensman. The Lensman is a contractor that we have on call, if you like. We pay him on by the hour, but he does all the little jobs like strimming alleyways that need doing, minor highways repairs, and basically he's a very skilled odd job man for the council. So we keep him updated with stuff. That's part of this committee. We approved the revised burial policy for the burial ground down at Woodhouse Lane. And we've overseen the burial ground management, obviously, which the mayor has alluded to earlier, was awarded best new entry and a silver award in the parish, town and community council category at the Cemetery of the Year Awards for 25-26. We do things like tree planting, consider locations for tree planting, enhancing the community orchards and other tree planting schemes within the town. We developed a new specification for the new garden of remembrance at the Woodhouse Burial Ground, and that's a garden of remembrance for ashes interment. It's not for human remains, if you like. It's just for ashes. So that's going to be a new facility when it gets done. We developed the specification. We considered the bus service, and that's all the bus services, including the one which we used to fund. I don't know if you're aware, but this council fully funded the 93 bus for several years when it was withdrawn by the county council, and they recently took it back on last year, and it's doing really very well. But we constantly monitor that through our transport working group under the chairmanship of our retiring mayor, Dawson. And we're always looking at making improvements to that and increasing the usage if we could. We've worked with the Moorlands Partnership Board to repair damaged memorials in the churchyard, and we respond obviously to high risk consultations, that's traffic flow and calming where appropriate within the town. We consider biodiversity and again requirements for the development of the Woodhouse Lane Burial Ground, because obviously if we're taking grass up and we're taking plants out, we have to compensate that by planting some stuff out elsewhere. We supported allotment holders and held an annual meeting. We developed a walks booklet in partnership with the Biddulph Ramblers, and that I presume includes the Gented Waters scheme as well. That'll be back and more. And we consider traffic calming measures in Biddulph East. And that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. If I can go to Councillor Garvey next for Planning Committee, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, my name is Councillor Jim Garvey and I'm chair of the Biddulph Town Council Planning Committee. It's not the most exciting committee with lots of achievements to give you, but it is vital nevertheless. We are a statutory consultation on all planning applications in the 5 wards of Biddulph. Planning applications close to our ward boundaries in adjacent parishes. Consequently, we get sent all of these to consider. We are not the planning authority, so we do not decide the planning applications themselves. But as guardians of the Biddulph Neighbourhood Development Plan, which you document here, our recommendations have weight and validity in the deliberations of the planning officers at FMDC, who are the planning authority for all of the Staffordshire wards. We meet monthly, even in months when other committees don't meet, because the limited consultation period to comment on planning applications means our responses need to be timely. As with the other committees, our meetings are recorded and are available to view on the Biddulph Town Council YouTube channel if you so wish. In the last 12 months, we've deliberated on 62 new applications and 3 appeals, with all our decisions and recommendations guided by the National Planning Policy Framework, but also focus on the specific policies that we have within our defined in our neighbourhood development plan. Typically, if an application complies with all the relevant NDP policies and positively supports the vision and aims of the neighbourhood plan, such as developing our local businesses, community or social economies, we would usually recommend approval with or without conditions. If the application complies with these policies but does not deliver a tangible benefit to Biddulph, we might reply with a neutral response of no adverse comments. The vast majority of applications tend to fall into these categories. However, if the application fails to meet those same neighbourhood development plan policies, we have no hesitation in recommending refusal and highlighting these failures to the planning authority officers. We also have the ability, with representative district councils and all our wards sitting on the committee, to request the planning applications that fail to meet the neighbourhood development plan policies be called in for the decision at full SNDC planning committee, rather than being made as delegated decisions by the individual planning officers. We will also do this for applications with significant local community impact or interest, such as the recent Greenbelt housing developments in Biddulph Moor and Lloyd, as this allows for public comment and the cases for both for and against to be publicly presented and discussed. Over the last few years, we have called in about half a dozen such applications, and most have followed our recommendations or been deferred for a decision to gather more information. I believe in this way we have actually been an effective committee representing the interests of the people of Biddulph and Biddulph community and economies. I take my opportunity to thank all the members of that committee. As I say, it's not the most exciting and dynamic committee to be part of, but it's nevertheless vital for their work and commitment to the meetings and to the large amount of paperwork that you need to read in advance. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Councillor Garvey. So last but not least, we've got the Town and Communities Committee. I'll defer to Councillor Salt.
Thank you very much. I will try not to keep you much longer. It's been a privilege to have led such an innovative committee supported by Councillor Garvey. Thank you very much. I've been absent on a couple of occasions. It's a very full committee with plenty of ideas from our councillors. And at this point, I must thank all the officers who work so hard in bringing them to fruition. So we might sit around the table and come up with mad ideas, but it's certainly not us that makes them happen. That generally tends to fall to Jodie, who does a cracking job. I also want to thank the councillors, not just from that committee, but from the whole of the town council that volunteer to support the ideas that we have. And councillors spend dozens of hours stood outside in the street in a high-vis jacket in the rain, making sure that people are kept safe and well for all these events that we think of. And to all the staff that also give up their weekends and evenings to make these events happen too, spending more time away from their families. Thank you very much. I need to thank the wider team as well, because some of the events on this committee wouldn't happen without people like the caretakers working past midnight, and Rob and his contractors that get up at silly o'clock at 4 o'clock in the morning to deliver a load of sand for the Biddulph Festival, Biddulph by the Sea, and market stalls and all sorts of things. And I remember for the Christmas light switch on, Rob and his team said it was at this point about 10 o'clock at night, and he'd been up since 5 o'clock in the morning, and he was falling asleep over his pie and peas, and he was absolutely shattered. So thank you to the whole council team that support the ideas generated by this committee. So some highlights, and I won't dwell on them because they've been mentioned by other committees, and I think that's the point of the town council. An idea might be generated by the community committee, but ultimately it flows through to the finance committee to be asked for back in there, and perhaps to the town council to be asked for back in there. So these projects do overlap, but just to highlight a few: the town square, the lending library, Biddulph Works Together, the Christmas light switch on, the volunteer thank you event, the community cinema, the chain reaction project, and the VE Day commemorations for VE Day 80 last year. I like to think that the community committee is a bit like a parent teacher association. I think that's a good way to describe it to members of the public, that look out for the wider interests and health, well-being, social, emotional sort of side of the town. And we've got the best interests of our residents at our core, and this committee strives to bring joy to all and spread kindness. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Salt. So that concludes the reports on the current areas of work of the town council. What we have got left to do is just report on the recipients of the community grants, some of which the recipients received a big cheque downstairs earlier today, which was really lovely. Are you just going to go through those?
Well, yeah, I was just, so I think we've probably done a bit enough of that tonight, really. But Councillor Rogers mentioned the fact that this year just gone, we've awarded £57,000. We had applications in excess of £102,000. So the work of the Finance Committee was challenging this year, but we've tried to be as creative as possible, and committed funds from elsewhere if possible, and councillors who are district councillors have kind of taken some of those suggestions forward for their district council allocations as well. So we funded, as we always do, a wide range of organisations, from the Rainbows and the Brownies, the Scouts, the Guides, funded wellbeing groups and gardening groups and allotments groups. We funded youth projects, those who provide advice within our community on a wide range of issues. We funded those who support when people have got significant health issues. And we funded some other groups as well that support people to come together, to be together, to spend time learning new skills and new crafts. So it's been a real pleasure, I think, I speak for everyone, to say, to read those grant applications, to learn about some of the work that goes on in the town, some of the projects that they aspire to achieve over the coming year. And some of those have big cheques downstairs as part of our 60th anniversary celebrations. So it's been a very positive experience overall, and we will put all that information on the website along with the lovely photos that we've taken this evening.
I think sometimes, as much as the work of the town council doing the meetings and the hours we put in to do them, spend hours sitting here deliberating over minutes and what have you, the actual giving of funds to organisations in the community is kind of, the fuzzy feel goods that we all enjoy. So that was really nice. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to comment on the grants, and I think it's worth mentioning that if an applicant complies with the requirements, which is to fill in the form, obviously, provide accounts and provide, if they had a grant before, they have to provide a form to say what they used it for. If those criteria are met, we rarely refuse anything. Rarely. In fact, I can't remember an occasion where we've said no. We've only said no if those criteria haven't been met. So I would advise anybody that does need support, any volunteers to support, to apply, because if you don't get what you want, you probably get something, as long as you tick the boxes and do it. Because we have to have rules, otherwise it'd be a complete chaos. But it's very, very rare that we turn a grant down. Very rare.
Thank you. And the final part of the annual town meeting is where we go to an open forum. So that's to discuss any issues raised by any elector. We have had a question come in via email that they couldn't be here today to do that themselves. Yeah, I think I'll do this one, and then so we've had someone write in, and I'll just read this out as written. Thank you for your invitation to raise questions at the annual town meeting. There are 3 issues that I would propose for consideration. Number 1, teenagers' intimidating behaviour late evenings outside Sainsbury's. 2, traffic congestion at Halls Road when football games are played. 3, Halls Road rat run at peak travel times. As a shift worker, I sometimes have to do my shopping late at night and run the gauntlet through gangs of misbehaving children around the entrance, including youths kicking footballs against cars and in the car park, and aggressive and rude language at the entrance to the supermarket. Question 1. Are there facilities for teenagers to meet and socialise in Biddulph rather than congregating in gangs on the streets? Large companies usually have quite substantial budgets to support local communities in which they trade profitably. I think of Sainsbury's themselves and Aldi as just 2 examples. Staffordshire County Council would be able to support a social initiative as well, perhaps. Question 2. My second subject is traffic congestion on Halls Road. I live opposite the entrance to the playing fields, and the car park is not large enough when football matches are played. Cars are parked on Halls Road itself, causing quite severe congestion to a point where emergency services have restricted access, and not least blocking driveways to individual properties on Halls Road itself. Could the car park be enlarged as part of the solution? Question 3. In peak times, Halls Road is used as a rat run during peak travel times and at speeds which are clearly excessive and dangerous. Are we able to have traffic calming measures? Many thanks.
Madam Mayor,
Yep.
just on the last one, the traffic calm is actually being done as we speak. People who are not aware, we've pushed for a long time to make the junction of Halls Road and Station Road safer. That's been done also. We're now currently putting speed cushions in. Not everybody's in favour of speed cushions, but we will reduce the speed in that area. Regarding the parking, I live in that area and I do see the problem myself. I don't know a quick answer to that one without losing a lot of the play area or the sports area. But yes, I think there's possibility of making the parking area bigger, but you would have to lose possibly the smallest football pitch to do it.
And just to say as well that the Halls Road playing fields is not our responsibility as Biddulph Town Council. That
It's
is
not our responsibility, but we do care. We do
Yeah.
care about this.
absolutely.
It's like the speed, it's not a town council issue, but we have pushed highways for a long time to sort this issue out of the speeding cars in that area. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, just on the antisocial behaviour, it is fairly and squarely a policing issue. And I know Councillor Salt's probably going to add to what I'm going to say now, but we are constantly lobbying the police for increased presence. In fact, any presence a lot of the time in Biddulph. And as a council, there's really not much more we could do. Ask for facilities, because if they look for it, they're there. I mean, there are facilities there for youngsters if they wish to. But sadly, there's a demographic of youngsters that whatever you do, whatever you put on, they'll still prefer to come and smash the trees up outside the town hall. So I'll say it is a policing issue, and we put pressure on the police all the time. I've written to the new chief inspector today. By the way, I didn't even find out we got a new chief inspector until a couple of days ago. I was still writing to CR Darren McGrath, and apparently he's been gone for 2 months. Didn't know that. So we do what we can, but it is fairly and squarely a policing issue. Thank you, Madam.
Councillor Salt and Councillor Yates.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the antisocial behaviour question as well. So Biddulph is well served by youth and community groups. So just as an example off the top of my head, you've got the RAF cadets that meet on a Monday and a Thursday. You've got the Scouts and Guides that meet on multiple occasions at various different places in the town. You've got Biddulph Youth and Community Group Zone that run a youth club on a Monday and a Friday evening. You've got the Biddulph and District Community Orchestra that involve young people as well. You've also got detached youth workers. Detached youth workers are really useful in that they are the ones that go out and meet people that are hanging around on the streets, try and divert those into more productive activities. They're currently funded by Staffordshire Moorlands District Council, and we've asked for a bit of an update there about how effective they are, and we can ask for the data. Well, we have asked for the data on that, and I think that's going to be forthcoming. These are a very, very, very tiny minority of young people, and this often goes in cycles. I very much believe that once these out here are old enough to go into the pub, they'll probably be causing trouble in a bit of a different way. But we mustn't tar all young people with the same brush. So there is stuff that Biddulph Town Council can do to help deviate, that's the wrong word, to help get these young people into different activities that are more productive, and we do that, and that goes back to the grant funding, where we fund youth and community organisations, including Biddulph Youth and Community Zone, and organisations like the Scouts and the orchestra, so that these young people have got something productive to do in the evenings. Obviously, we can't force young people to undertake those activities, but those are the sorts of things that we do. Sadly, we have no control over policing. The only thing that we can do is lobby. And as an action from this, I'm quite happy to bring the motion that I took to SMDC last week to Biddulph Town Council when we next meet, to pressure the powers that be at Staffordshire Police not to cut the PCSO hours, because that means they will finish their shifts earlier, and the kids that are hanging around out there are not kind of 10 years old. The ones that are causing most of them either are sort of 15, 16, 17, and they won't be going home at 9 o'clock at night. They'll be still out there at midnight. So we need to do something about that, and all we can do is lobby and pressure. We've no control whatsoever over the police force. I should also say that we've got Know Your Place project, which has involved young people, which has involved a grant from the University of Staffordshire, is that right?
Yeah.
Just to declare an interest there, to try and create projects designed by young people themselves. I would also encourage people in terms of what we can do as a collective, and I've done this personally, as I live in the town centre. And last week I rung 999 3 times on 3 separate occasions to report antisocial behaviour. The only way we're going to get more policing in this town in order to deal with the issue is that if the police know there's an issue. If all we do is observe the issue but don't report it, there isn't an issue according to the data. And if the data doesn't tell us an issue, then resources won't be directed to Biddulph. So what we all need to take a responsibility in doing is every time you see someone messing around out there, smashing trees up, driving around on these souped up electric bikes, then you need to ring 999. Now, someone the other week said that it wasn't a 999 matter. Well, I'm sorry, but it is, because if you've got a young person riding around on a souped up electric bike without a helmet, that is a 999 matter, because they could easily be killed if they come off that bike. If you've got people actively smashing stuff up, that's criminal damage. That is a 999 call. So people, I think, are put off of reporting because they think they need to dial 101. They don't. They can call 999. And last week, I was really pleased to see that on the 3 occasions that I did call 999, I was taken very seriously, and the policing teams did turn up on every single occasion. So please report it. Yes, there's stuff that Biddulph Town Council are doing. We can't change the policing presence, but we absolutely acknowledge that there is stuff in this community for the vast majority of young people that is well used, but for the tiny minority of young people, they're not interested in those diversionary activities by and large, and I'm afraid they might, and it's a really sad thing to say because goodness knows we've tried. Some of those young people have even volunteered for this town council on Christmas light switch-ons in Biddulph by the Sea. So we've given them every opportunity. We've handed them every olive branch we possibly can. But very sadly, for a tiny minority of these young people, it might be the criminal justice system that they have to enter to hopefully change their minds. But then there's another lecture about whether the criminal justice system is in itself effective in rehabilitating offenders, but that's not a topic for today, and certainly nothing that this town council can do about. Thank you.
Councillor Yates.
Yes, just picking up on some of the points, and certainly not wanting to repeat anything, but just want to stress there's 22 town councillors, and together we are an effective lobby for the opinions of the residents. It does carry considerable weight, and we are quite a group demographic, both in terms of the gender, age and experience, which means that when collectively we come together, it actually does make a strong case for what the real Bill of Residents needs and want. And we as reiterated in the annual report, we get that many calls, both in person and on the telephone from our residents, over 20,000 in a year. So that means that on average, one resident at least makes contact once throughout the year. So we can garner those opinions and hopefully get some results to speak us about. And the fact that we are a demonstrably well-run council, our voice definitely matters, and we certainly punch above weight when it comes to district council and the county council officers. I'm sure about that. Just a couple of issues that don't really touch on Middletown Council, which is said that lobbying round, but parking is always going to be an issue in certain times. It's very difficult to see how the Hulls Road car park in some respects can be expanded without causing other issues, including, as was touched, actually loss of facilities there. What pains me is that there's somebody who lives very much in that area, is that people will always try to park at the absolute point of use. It doesn't make any difference whether it's parking outside schools, they get as close to the gates and as close to the zigzag as possible. And they seem to have blinkered vision, they don't seem to care about what's around. But there are other car parks relatively close, and there are other streets which I'm aware of because I live on them, which do have a little bit of capacity. But I think one of the problems with the football is the fact that as one group finishes, another group is preparing to start. So you're actually having doubling up. So there are actually times when the Hulls Road car park has got a significant number of spaces, yet the streets are absolutely rammed with cars, and that's because somebody was already there first. So perhaps a little bit of a scheduling thing could be discussed with the footballing groups. And I have noticed that towards the end of this season, that football pitches seem to be used over a longer period of time. That's an indication of the success of outdoor sport, which is very good and very encouraging. That gives the young people and the slightly old people something to do to keep fit. But it also gives that spread out so that we can balance the car parking. I am very pleased that the traffic calming and the junction improvements at Station Road and Hulls Road have been introduced. That's something I was lobbied strongly against when I had a stint as a county council, and it's a proposal which was put forward and approved during my time as a county council. It's taken a while to get in, but I am pleased that that is in. I don't think we can realistically call Hulls Road a ramp one. It's a pre-existing road, which is a connecting road, which connects Gillow Heath, which has grown over the years, to the A527 Compton Road, which is amazing. It's just a case that, unfortunately, Biddulph being in the valley it is, a lot of our roads are on a medieval footprint or a late medieval footprint, and they really haven't got the capacity. So that's something which we've got to look at in the future as the town continues to grow and as more cars continue to turn up on the roads. It is something which I'm acutely aware of because during rush hour, even on Dalton Road, we do get a little bit trapped sometimes on both sides, especially going up to Chell. So hopefully that's something which we can work on over the next couple of council terms.
I'm just very aware that this is one question from one elector, so I'm just going to draw this discussion to a close, and I will ask if Sarah can respond to that, if it's coming via email, just with what we've discussed.
So I'll Councillor Salt's just nipped out, but if we, as an action from that, if we ask her to speak about the policing issues at a town council meeting, and I'll respond with the feedback on the other questions.
Absolutely.
Is that acceptable?
Chairman, I was hoping just to say something for your attention, I thought.
Yeah, we just need to move on because there might be other people that have got questions. We've got limited time. Thank you. Are there any more questions from within the chamber?
Is this an annual traffic measures besides the one on Hulls Road? Anything else going on?
As in traffic calming?
Yeah.
We've got anything at Councillor Yates?
Not aware of anything which is planned. There was a scheme scoped out for the bridge over Gillow Shore Brook and the bottom of Station Road where there's no footpath. but I'm not aware of the current status of that. There was the 30-mile-an-hour extension towards Whitehall. Unfortunately, it didn't go as far as was originally intended, but that's the final one, which I know. It is a county council function, and we hope during full town council meetings, as and when the county councils turn up, it was given the opportunity to lobby. So if you have got any particular concerns, we're quite happy to forward those on. And the county councillors do have something called the Divisional Highways Programme funding, which allows them to research issues which town residents have. So again, I would employ you to pass those either directly to the county councillors or through the town council, and we can pass those on for potential consideration.
And if there's anywhere specific that you would like to raise, obviously do that through the town council, either bob in or pop an email across, and we can of course discuss that. Councillor James, sure.
Yeah, just quickly, on the back of what Councillor Yates was saying, there were several schemes coming towards fruition during Councillor Yates's tenure and Councillor Flunder's tenure. Sadly, since the new county council, we're putting this out in the public record, since the new county councillors have taken office, all those schemes have either been drastically reduced or dropped altogether. There was quite a comprehensive scheme to do an overall 20-mile-an-hour limit for Biddulph for the entire village, because there's a lot of speeding traffic goes from Biddulph on its way to Leek. That was a feasibility study had been done. Councillor Yates had progressed it as far as he could when he lost his seat. Since then, it appears all to have been dropped in the bin. And sadly, because the county councillors won't come and talk to us, we don't know what's happening. And that's the situation, quite frankly, that's where we're at. The county councillors do not talk to this council. And highways is a county council issue.
Are there any more questions from within the chamber? Councillor Garvey.
Thank you, Chair. I was going to make add some additional information in terms of, as councillors Yates and James have said this, for county councillors, there are a number of initiatives that were planned on the Compton Road, speed awareness indicators, and the modification to the 30-mile-an-hour zone. These have been raised and are on the list of actions for the county councillors, but we have yet to have a response for it. Again, once the response comes forward from that will be communicated out to the residents without particular Biddulph.
Thank you.
Are we asking questions from the floor now, or are we still on a question from there?
So we're just answering questions about the traffic calming, which I think we've answered as well as we could in terms of that one. I've got one more question, one more statement of information to share from someone else who couldn't be here. So I'll just read that one out, unless it's anything related to that.
It's that statement.
Go for it.
It's two birds at once.
There we go.
We both got this statement, I think, don't we?
Yeah.
John, this is from our town crier, John Robertson. He's absolutely desperate to be here in spirit tonight. So he's given Charlie and I the same message. This is just to announce that he'd like the community's support in the British Championships of the Biddulph Town Cry. The British Championships of the Town Criers on Saturday the 22nd of August. He says he's really sorry that he can't be here tonight. But as the new National Secretary of the Loyal Company of Town Criers, he's been tasked with organising the Town Crier British Championships, which is holding here in Biddulph from the 21st to the 23rd of August this year, with the main competition being on Saturday the 22nd. And he says this is the fourth time that him and Sue have organised the prestigious championship, and he's hoping that we will, the community and council, support him to come and watch some of Britain's best town criers shouting at each other on the town hall steps. He says he's not asking for any money, just turning up and lots of support. So he's asked us to read that out. Very good.
Thank you very much. Are there any further questions from the floor at all? And that concludes the meeting of the annual town meeting for 2026. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for your time and your questions.
Come on, yeah.
Yeah.